Hey, we're so excited about the things that are going on right now at Worth Unlimited. We've had the opportunity to travel all over the country the last few weeks, and people are more excited about what's going on than ever before. Things are moving forward. People are just loving what we're doing for the American consumer. And you just talk to people and you can hear a difference in their voice, a difference in their persona. Sometimes we have people come into the room in our meetings and they have that skeptical look and they're kind of here to check things out. And by the time that it's over, or by the time they've gone through a presentation, they've totally changed their demeanor. They've totally changed their outlook. And, there are people saying, hey, how do I sign up for this? How do I get involved in this company? How do I get in helping other people? And it is tremendously exciting to see the things that are going on. And every time that I hear one of those stories about, hey, I took this person from 27 years down to 8.9, and we saved them $291,000 in interest, and they're so excited. I never get, and I know John and Skylar feel the same way, I never get tired of hearing those stories. I could hear thousands of them, and I never get tired of hearing that take place. Folks, listen, things couldn't be better. It's this thing is so viral, taken off in such a great way. So many people are excited about what we're doing and what they can do for their friends, their family, people they come in contact with. All you have to do really is just kind of open your mouth and just ask people, hey, listen, do you have debt? What if I could show you how to get out of debt in a third to a half the time that you normally would? Would you be interested? And people say yes. They want to relieve themselves of that burden. They want to get out of debt. They want to see some relief in their life. And so we do some great things, and the more involved that you get in the company, the more excited you're going to become. Just make that, go out and make that first contact. If you're talking to someone that you're potentially trying to recruit in the business, or if you're out there talking to someone about getting out of debt and having the opportunity to create true wealth, all you have to do is just open your mouth, and people are going to listen to you. It's amazing. And look, I'm not trying to oversell this to you. I'm just being honest. I caught an Uber from the airport the other day. Well, 3 times this has happened to me in the last week. Caught an Uber, talked to every one of the Uber drivers, and every one of them want to know more. And I've heard other stories like that all across America. People are excited. Great things are happening. We've got some good people sticking their head up right now, becoming true leaders. They're moving to a position where we're able to have more closers that are able to get in and help people and teach and train other people, and we want you to be able to do that as well. So I just wanted to share that with you a little bit. Let's get started, because I know that John has a lot to share with you tonight and go through. So let's just kind of review some things that are happening right now and what's coming up. In the month of September, we have a 10% retail discount, and that code is retail10, and that code is good for 48 hours. So if you've gotten on there, you started getting you're looking at the program, you've got your information input, there's a 48-hour period that 10% retail discount will take effect. Now, please know this, whether you're an agent, if you're an agent and you're out there talking to your clients or prospective clients, let them know this opportunity ends September the 30th. So it's a tremendous advantage to them to be able to get on and to get that 10% discount, and it's a great thing that you can do for them. We have some great live events coming up Thursday and Friday. There's a lot of them here, so you might want to jot them down. Thursday and Friday, September 26th and 27th in Orlando, Florida, is going to be a meeting, a seminar, a training. Saturday, September 28th in Hudson, Florida. Friday, September 27th in Westboro, Massachusetts. Saturday, September 28th in Worcester, Massachusetts. Tuesday, October the 1st, Columbia, South Carolina. Looking forward to being all of these great places with everyone. Friday and Saturday, October the 4th and 5th, there's going to be a meeting in Honolulu, Hawaii. Wednesday, October the 2nd, there's a meeting that is going to be in Ua. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ua Beach, Hawaii, let me tell you, the folks in Hawaii are just tearing this thing up. The Vargases and their team, Lori Shimko, many people that I've known for many, many years, they are just out there tearing this up and so excited for what's happening in their organizations. October 11th and 12th, Dallas, Texas. Be sure that you get people there for that. Friday and Saturday, October 11th and 12th, that same weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, is a great meeting going on. Be sure that you pack these meetings out. Now, listen, you got to have 50 people or more. So we're having 75 to 100 people at these meetings, everyone. Get people there. Again, just open your mouth and just say how exciting it is. Come learn about our company and what we do. More live events, October the 29th, Friday and Saturday, October the 18th, as well as October the 19th, are live events, St. Louis, Missouri, October 18th and 19th. October 19th, Columbia, South Carolina. October 29th, again in Columbia, South Carolina. That's a Saturday and a Tuesday. So note, those are two different meetings. We look for all of these events to be packed out to the max. Friday and Saturday, November the 8th and 9th, is Albany, Georgia. Friday and Saturday, November, I went a little bit too far. Friday and Saturday, November the 15th and 16th, is San Antonio, Texas. So go to your back office, see your agent back office for registration and details for all of these events. We encourage you, you need to get on, you need to register for these events ahead of time. Try not to come and register. Now, listen, we want you to come even if you haven't registered ahead of time, but listen, do everything that you can to register ahead of time. It helps things work out a lot smoother and better. We can get our meetings going, get them started, and we want to do that on time, get you in there, out there, and get as much information to you as we possibly can. Oh, a little bit too far again. My computer just keeps kind of wanting to kick. Folks, I cannot stress to you enough. This event coming up October the 25th and 26th is a national kickoff. I promise you, this will be the most exciting, most educational event that you've ever been to with any company to learn what we do, what we're about. You will be fed great information. Look, a lot of conventions and kickoffs, yes, they're motivational. Yes, they're inspiring. There's no doubt about it. But I promise you, our goal is to teach you, train you, and educate you so when you leave there, you know how to do a couple of things. One, you know how to do the product. You understand the product in and out. You've got a conviction within you that you know that you're doing the right thing. The second thing is we're going to have great builders and recruiters there. They're going to teach you how to build a business, how to recruit people, and then how to build a business. Those are two different things. Recruiting and building are different. So you're going to learn from the best of the best how to do those things at this event. There's going to be major announcements. Listen, not just announcements. We used to call them bombshells, okay? I don't know if that's still appropriate or not, but we used to call them bombshells. These are tremendous introductions to great things that are happening with the company, how the company's moving forward. You're gonna come unglued. I'm telling you, it is incredible what's going to happen. Register now. As a matter of fact, folks, you need to call and see if you can still get a room because I think our room block may be gone. We're looking into possibly getting more because so many people are wanting to come to the event. It's going to be packed out. We can have 500 people there. Make sure that you're there. Also, folks, register through the Worth Unlimited on your back office as well. Register for Worth Unlimited. It's $99. That's totally different from your room, okay? So when you go to your back office, you're going to see a couple of things. I'll just kind of skip through this. Room reservation details are located under the kickoff event. Go to your agent back office link, purchase your tickets, and reserve your rooms. we have special pricing. And let me tell you why it's special pricing. Because it's $145 and the hotel has waived the $15 per day parking fee if you're staying at the hotel. So it would cost you normally $160 to get a room. Now it's $145. If you're there at the event, but you're not staying at the hotel, they're going to charge you $5 instead of $15. You just have to let them know you're with Worth Unlimited. Any restaurant in the hotel, you get a 10% discount on any dining that takes place. So here's the number, 800-627-8258, 800-627-8258. Ask for the Worth Unlimited room block. Okay? So, again, there are a limited number of rooms. This is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Events will be on Friday and Saturday, but you need to be there Thursday evening because we're going to kick off some meetings early on Friday, and you'll be getting an agenda, a general agenda to let you know the things that are going on. So be sure that you do that as fast as you possibly can. Go to your back office. There you will see kickoff event. Just go to register. Go to register, click on, and you'll be able to register for the event. Very important that you do that. You need to get registered ahead of time, okay? It's gonna be less money. There will be in the next week or so. It looks like that we're going to have to increase prices on the tickets because we have a tremendous commitment to the hotel. Okay, so we have a contract and an agreement. So I would get registered now at $99 because probably in the next week or two we're going to be announcing that has to go up, and if you pay at the door, it will be even more. Okay, so we'll get that message out to you. So also the Florida kickoff event in Orlando. The tickets are $99, and make sure that you purchase those. This is an incredible resort. You'll have a lot of fun, great meetings, and wonderful things will be happening, and great announcements. Blog Talk Radio, be sure that you tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 noon. Good training, fantastic training by the leaders in our company. They teach you the do's and the don'ts, and they teach you information on how they set appointments, how they close sales, what they're doing, and what's going on in the company. Everything Worth Unlimited, opportunities, success stories, and etc. To join the show, you dial 646-787-8176, blogtalkradio.com/Worth Agents, blogtalkradio.com/Worth Agents. So be sure that you do that, and you're on those calls every week if you possibly can. They are recorded in case you can't come, but try to make it. Announcement, split sales. Split sales will be a 50-50 split sale on your first two sales with a certified field trainer or closer. So if you got sales to close, it's a 50-50 split on your first two, and it must be done with a certified trainer. We advise split sales to be within your own team and hierarchy if at all possible. Because we have so many people joining the company right now, sometimes it may be outside, but as we get bigger and more people are trained, we want you to stay within your hierarchy and with your team, because that's how our company is built. We are teams, okay? But you do have someone right now that can help you. Agents cannot sell to themselves. You cannot buy your own program. You must purchase the Worth account from the person that introduced you to the program. You cannot buy it yourself. You can't get the discount yourself. You must buy it. It's going to be flagged. The software is programmed where that will be flagged, so it'll know that that person has their name and that you're trying to buy your own sale, and it will not allow that to happen, okay? But listen, you get it back 100-fold. Everyone that you recruit has to buy from you. So if you recruit 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, all of those people buy from you. You have to be a certified trainer and closer to split the sales with an agent. As we discussed, split sales roll out by September the 23rd. So that is the drop dead date on, excuse me, I'm so sorry, on that, on the split sale situation. As a certified field trainer, you must qualify. In order to do that, you've got to do 2 split sales, your 2 split training sales, and 1 sale that you close on your own. Now, we would advise that you probably have someone on the phone with you that's a certified closer so they can hear what you're doing, because we don't want you, you know, if you get in trouble or something and you're not sure what to do, we want to make sure that you know what you're doing. So you must do that presentation on your own. Directors, before the cutoff date, 3 sales that you are the closer on. Okay, so if you're a director, you must have 3 sales that you're a closer on. Managing directors, before the cutoff date, 1 sale. You are the closer on, at least 1 sale. The tentative cutoff date, again, is September the 23rd, 2019, and you can do split sales, and those will count towards your sales, okay? Half of that will count towards your sales. So it's a pretty easy thing to qualify to be able to do. Okay. Hey, folks, a lot of information. I know there's a lot there, but what I want to do now, look, I've known John and Skylar for a long time, 15 years, I guess. And, you know, it's nice to know that you've got a company, that the owners of that company have such credibility that over the last 10, 15 years, they have always serviced their clients. They have never stopped, paused, or anything servicing those clients. So isn't it nice to know that you can work with people that have such tremendous credibility? So, okay, John, you're incredible. Thank you for everything that you've done. So I want to turn the time over to you to do some training for us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everybody. So what we want to do is kind of go through this a little bit slower tonight. Last week might have been a little bit like a pinball machine, but what we're going to do is just kind of go through this a little bit slower. Hopefully you can digest it, understand it, and kind of take it all in. One thing I do want to bring up is we are going to be moving the cutoff date up to October 1st, so when we roll out all of the changes live. But anyways, we've got a lot to go through, so I want to go ahead and get started. So analysis introduction, basically you log into your back office. That's at portal.worthaccount.com, or you can go to worthaccount.com and then just kind of go from there. Looks like, Steve, we're getting some background. I don't know if you can mute yourself out.
It's not, so, okay.
So next thing is once you log into your back office, you click on your prospects tab. This is pretty easy. It's right there at the top. And then the next thing is new prospect. From there, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. And you just fill in that information. It's pretty simple, pretty hard to mess up. Just fill in name, email, phone number, address, and then click save and move on. So the next step is once you've got a prospect created, you can run the analysis. So right there we hit run analysis, and we can go ahead and jump into the analysis. So right now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and do that exact thing, jump into this analysis. So here we are live. Let me see. Now one thing I want to do is we're going to set this up just a little bit. So here we are loading this up. Let me see. Okay, so as we get into the analysis, and just wanted to make sure that my screen is showing correctly, and it is. Okay, great. So as we jump into this analysis, there is 3 buttons right here for you to access. There's add a mortgage. Tonight we're not going to be adding a mortgage because we're wanting to really more train on the shopping cart, and so we're going to start out with a gold client. And the reason why we want to do this is so that you can understand how to upgrade that gold client. And adding a mortgage is pretty simple, so we'll do another training on adding a mortgage as well. But for now, for tonight, we're just going to go ahead and start out with a gold client who does not have a mortgage. And so you've got two buttons here that really you can jump into: add a loan or add a credit card, line of credit, or HELOC, as it says right there, auto loan, personal, or business loan. So as we jump into this, we have got James Jones, and James Jones has got a truck loan that we're going to add in. So with that, you've got a name for the account, you've got balance, interest rate, monthly payment, extra principal, and then you've got this side thing that pops up over here. And, you know, what is this? So we're going to kind of go into this a little bit, but most of the time when you're talking to a client, you know, they have a rough idea of what the balance is. And so we can put in good and we'll get out good, but if we put in better, we get out better. And I'm going to show you how to use these tools just a little bit. And then you've also got your payment information below here that just kind of tells you what's going on with the analysis and how the program is seeing this data. So with that, let's get into this. James tells us, you know, hey, he's got $12,000 owing, roughly on his current balance. He's got an interest rate of 3.9%, and he says his payments are around $270. So with that, we have a $12,000 balance. Now, if you want to just go ahead and go forward from there, you can. That's good enough. And that's good information, but it may not be 100% correct. So if we ask a few more questions, we might get to an exact or better input. We also have this extra principal. And this is a really nice feature as well because, and we'll go into this one here in just a minute. But what we want to do is kind of start out with $12,000. Most of the time, a $12,000 even balance that a customer's had for a little while is probably not exactly the right balance. So if we want to probe and get a little bit better information, this just makes the setup a little bit easier. It makes the support process a little bit easier, and we just need to know a few things. Hey, James, when did you take out this loan? Roughly how long have you had it? Sometimes people are good with dates, and sometimes they're not good with dates. But if we just kind of go in and we say, he says, oh, I took this out, in September of last year. So we just come in here, change it to September of last year, and bam, we're done. So then we ask one other question. Do you know what the original loan amount was on this loan? And he says, yeah, I think it was about $15,000. Now, if he doesn't know these things, that's okay. We just move on. We're good enough. But if we want better, that's what this tool is for. This is to help us. This is basically like a little calculator so that you don't have to actually get out your calculator and get out your scratch paper and try to figure out some numbers. We just want to do that and help you out a little bit. So here's what we've got. We've got $12,297 is what it says this value is. Now, this is based off of this data, off of a payment of $270 and 3.9, taking it out on September of last year. So we say, okay, use this value. As we do that, you can see it dumps it in up here. Now, when we click on this interest rate, we notice that the calculation is 3.07, but we know that he said 3.9. Well, he seems pretty confident about the 3.9, so we leave that alone. But he said, roughly $270 on the monthly payment. So if you notice, all my data is still here. I have these principal, interest, and P&I all put together right here. So now when I look down here, original term, 5 years, because that's what he had said, hey, yeah, that was about a 5-year loan, $15,000, 3.9. It's saying my payment's $275.57. So we asked James, so hey, is your payment actually $275? And he says, yes. So we click use this value, and now look at this number. It's trued up to 3.9%. And now our balance changed just a little bit because we used this 275. So we want to go ahead and ask him, hey, roughly what is your balance a little bit over to 12,000? Would it be like 12,000, 297, 12,228? He says, yeah, I think that sounds about right. It's around there. and I used that value. Now, the reason why that changed on me was because the payment that I was using was $270. But when I trued up my payment to $275, and this is probably even the better place to start is your payment, because it's pretty easy to figure out. Your balance has to do with your payment and your interest rate, but your payment has to do with your original balance and just the interest rate and term, which are usually a little bit easier. So when we look at this now, we're exactly dead on. And when we look at this, we're dead on. So you don't have to use this tool off to the side, but it's just kind of nice. And it makes it, if he's struggling to figure out what his payment was or what his balance is, you can use these tools to help you. And it's just a starting place to get us to good in, to better out. And so then the next thing is extra principal. So what we want to do here is say, James, do you pay any extra on this loan? And if so, how much do you pay? And he says, you know what, I usually pay about $300. Okay, great. So what's nice about this is that $300, you just click use this value, and you're done. So now when I hit save, I can see also my payment, remaining term, or remaining payments, and then scheduled payoff 4 years. So I can see all the data. I can make any notes that I want to right in here about this account, anything that he said on it, and then that I went through and trued up the calculated a more of an exact balance and an exact payment and interest rate, and then we go ahead and hit save. So now that was pretty easy. Let's go ahead and add in another auto loan. So we come in here and we're going to say auto 2, and we're going to say, James says, the balance is about $13,000-ish. And he says the interest rate was 4.25, and he says the payment is around $350-ish. So we know we've got some guesswork in here. Now, just so you know, that's good enough. We can go forward and hit save. Now, it's good data, but it's not exact data. And if we get a little bit better, great. These are just some tools to help you understand what's going on behind the scenes and what the program's looking at, how it looks at this loan. Here's my principal, my interest. I've got 39 payments left to go, that kind of stuff. And then here's my extra principal button as well. And so, we come in here and we say, okay, well, James, since you're kind of guessing on that, do you know roughly how long this loan was? Well, so yeah, it was a 5-year loan. Okay, great. So we're right there. And if we need to change it, we can change it in that drop down. But most auto loans are a 5-year term. And then do you know what the current balance or the original balance was? And he says, yeah, I think that was around $20,000. So we put that number in. And now the payment says, okay, well, if we did that at 4.25, then the payment would be about $370. Does that sound right? And he says, you know what, that's actually right. Okay, great. So we use this value. Then we come over to our balance. Actually, we can even click on the interest rate, and it's showing 4.25. Then we click on our balance, and in our balance, we're going to need the origination date. And so we need to know that. And if we don't have that, it's okay. We have the payment trued up, and we have the interest rate, and the balance is still just a guess. And we can go ahead and hit save and move on. Well, we would want to go into this extra principal value here first, but for right now, all we need to know is one other number, and we can get an exact balance, current balance. So we ask him, hey, James, do you know roughly when you took out, this loan? He says, yeah, I think I took it out January 2018. Okay, great. So now the program says $13,798 as the balance. Let's say that James said that it was in, February or March. The balance is going to change. And so we can say, okay, well, he says, well, I think maybe it was in March. Then if it was in March, then the balance, we're going to tell him, okay, the balance looks like that would be about 14.3 or 14.4. And he says, no, I think it's around 13,000. We can come back to January, And we can say, okay, if you took it out in January, it'd be about $13,798.80. He says, you know what, that sounds about right. Okay, great. Bam, we slam that in there. We move on. Now the next thing is our extra principal. James, how much do you pay? The minimum payment is $370.59. How much do you actually pay? Well, he says, I usually send in about $375. Okay, well, you can do that math by yourself, but it's a little bit quicker if you just come in here and just go $375. Whoops. And then it just calculates $4.41. So it's just a nice little tool off to the side to help you do some math, to help you get these numbers in right, and that's what it's there for. So hopefully that's not too intimidating and it's pretty easy. Then your payment information is displayed below, scheduled payoff, remaining payments, and current payment, and then we just hit save. So the next thing we want to jump into is a credit card. And what we're going to do is we're going to load in a Visa. And we're going to use, now in this credit card, we've got 3 different types. We've got credit card, line of credit, or HELOC. And each of those have their own requirements and what they need. For this demonstration, we're just going to go over credit card. And so basically, you do have the HELOC option and a line of credit option as well. And there's information on the HELOC and the more information that you can go into, and line of credit as well. And we'll go into those at another training time, another date. But on your current balance is pretty easy to get. Same information: current balance, interest rate, credit limit, minimum payment, interest plus percentage of balance. Now this is important to understand, okay? Minimum payment on a credit card is always based off of the interest payment to the credit card plus a percentage of the balance, or if that gets too low, so say you get down to, say, $100, well, the interest on $100 could be like, $1, $2, and then a percentage of the balance, well, 1% of that balance is maybe another $1, so your minimum payment would be really low. So in that, your current balance would is a number that we would absolutely need, but your minimum payment would be the interest plus the percentage of the balance, or not less than $15, $20, $10, that kind of thing. So James says his minimum payment's about $25. His current balance is $17,976, and his interest rate is 19.99%. Oh, what's happening there? Jumped over. $19.99%, and our credit limit is $20,000. Okay, so with that, our current calculated payment is $479. Now, if the payment is off, if James says, no, I think my payment's a little bit more, there's the percentage of balance. So what we want to do is we're calculating that percentage of balance. So we come in here to the minimum payment and we adjust that. He says it's about $525. So now credit cards aren't just a fixed payment all the time. The payment's always changing based on the balance and based on these numbers: monthly interest and percentage of balance. So what we want to do is we want to update that percentage of balance. That's the number. Now, just so you know, most of the time, this is what it is. So you don't really have to do this, really mess with this, but if you need to and the customer is saying, no, that's not right, here's how you adjust it. And you can hit use this value. Now, one thing is I want you to understand, if he said that, my minimum payment's $400, well, it's going to use this value here, 0.559. Now, I can use that and I can click update. Now, it rounds it up just a little bit different than 400 because we only go out 3 decimals, and it's the percentage of a balance. But if we use that number, if you see on the analysis 30, 40, 50 years, it is because this is less than 1% of that balance. So, and that's something that, you know, if you see that amortization going out forever, what's happening is it's the interest payment, this $299.45 plus 0.559% of the balance, and then every month that you make a principal payment, that minimum payment shrinks and gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so it just drags out that loan as fast and as far as we can. So with that, let's go ahead and change this back to $525. We're going to click use this value. And now we ask James, okay, do you pay any extra principal on this loan? And he's going to tell us yes or no. And basically what we want to do is use the same thing as we did in the auto. It just makes this a little bit faster. He says, yeah, I pay about $550. So we come in here and I think my number lock is off. $550. And then it just gives us that value. We click update, use this value, it figures that out for us. We click next, or we click save and move on. So from there, let's go in. We're going to add in a couple more credit cards. So this time we've got, you know, a credit card here. And the information is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. $87.95 is the balance. The interest rate, we're going to go 17.99. And the credit limit is $10,000. And James says that his payment's about $220. Bam, that one's dead on. We don't even want to mess with it. So we just ask him, okay, and do you pay any extra principal on this? And he says, you know what, I actually pay about $250. Okay, $250. So about $30.20 goes to extra principal. We click save. That simple. So now we're going to add one other credit card in here, and it is going to be a MasterCard. So we click add line of credit, or add a credit card, and we're defaulting right to there. And this one is a MasterCard. And the current balance is $12,750, and the interest rate is 24.99. Credit limit is $20,000, he says. Okay, and he says that the minimum payment is $425. So we just come in here, mark it at $425, update that, and he says he pays a little bit of extra principal, and he says he pays on this one $450. So we go ahead and add that. And so now we've got the analysis completed here. We come into income. And we're going to add in our income. And we've got we just add our income. Next thing we move on to is expenses. And in our expenses, this works in two ways. So you can put in $250 in discretionary income, or you can come into your expenses. And actually, you know what? I messed up on my income. This is every week, so he makes $1,200 a week. So let me come back into our expenses. And we can put in $250 in discretionary income, and then our monthly expenses over here comes through and calculates it. So basically our income minus our debt payments minus our expenses to our discretionary income, or we can change up our monthly expenses to a number. If we said this is $2,000, then it would calculate our discretionary income. And you can do that either way. So we're going to go $250, save expenses, and move on. So here we are in our bank accounts. Now, one thing that's important to understand in our bank accounts is we do want to get this information. And, you know, we ask him, okay, so how much is the current in your checking account? Well, it's $500. Now, let's look at our savings account. How much? What is your balance there? $1,900. And now, does that pay you anything? Does it pay you anything? And he says, you know, it pays me about 1%. So here's what's important for you to understand. We have $2,400. That's roughly 78% of our emergency fund. And basically, this $3,087. So if we have $2,400 in there right now, the program is going to save up an additional $687 to get to $3,087 before it starts making funds transfers. Now, if we come in here and we edit this and we make it $2,400, then we've got enough. It's at 100%. But if we made this even $2,000, then it's going to use $400 and start applying that to debt. So that's just important for you to understand how this works. And an emergency fund is a good idea. It is something that we recommend, and it is something that they are going to need to get on the program. And whatever that emergency fund is, you can set that up here. So the next step is their age. So we've got, say, we put in there, he's 29, and we're going to get him debt-free, and, his goal is to get out of debt by 39. Now, because this is a gold package, I can update the program price right here and put it in at $24.95, override that number to whatever when I get the exact price, and go from there. So the next step, we move into the summary. Now, this is a great tab to go through and review everything that we've just done. So we go ahead and we can see everything off to the side, this extra $134 here, review all the payments with the client, and our net discretionary income is $384. From here, the next step is now, as we review this with James says, hey, what if, as I've gone through and reviewed all these numbers with him, he says my total income is $4,800, my total expenses are $2,075, and, my debt payments are $2,475. He says, you know what, I think I might have a little bit more discretionary income, about $500. And then we can see that this extra principal here comes up to $384 from these payments that he pays a little bit extra on. So he says, you know what, I think I might have actually a little bit extra discretionary. Let's run it at at $500. So instead of, I could come back into my expenses and adjust it here, but I can also go through and do it another way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we can come in here is go run scenario. And what I want to do is I want to rename this scenario. I'm going to call this 250 discretionary. Click rename scenario. And now I'm going to refresh this page just to kind of kick it back to the server for us. So, and then I can copy and clone this scenario. Oops, didn't give it a name. We're going to call this one 500 discretionary. New scenario. Okay, so now I've got my total debts. Everything's all copied over, exactly the same. And I can come into my monthly discretionary income, change that to 500, update expense, come to my summary page, and now I can pop these out. I can look at them both side by side and view the report. So I can hit view report. Now, we do recommend you go into the live presentation at this point, but this is basically something that we can go into full screen and look at side by side and just compare them both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that. So we can kind of do this with the client. Click 250 discretionary, switch it back over. Click on view report and then go to full screen. And now I can kind of show the client side by side both ways and help them decide what they want to do. From here, we're not going to really, because we're a little short on time, we're not going to review this. So we're going to go ahead and now that we're on the, go back here to the summary page, our next step is checkout. So this is what we want to go into. This is the new stuff that we've pushed up for us, and we're going to go ahead and go through this and how this all works. So they're locking in and accepting the pricing. There's 4 places that we can do this. Once the analysis is completed, the next step is to lock in the pricing and accept the scenario. And I'm going to explain to you what that accepting scenario is as well. But basically, we've got on the checkout, on the summary tab, we've got checkout right there. We can hit that. that's going to pop up this message. Accept scenario and lock in price. Well, what is that? What does that mean? Are you sure you want to accept this scenario? Before proceeding with checkout, you must make this analysis scenario the accepted scenario. What is that accepted scenario? We're going to go into that in just a minute. And this is, so by accepting this scenario, you're confirming the accuracy of the data provided. This data will be used for the client activation wizard. So we've set up 2 scenarios right now for this client, 250 down and 500. We have 2 different budget expenses. One of those we've got to send to the setup wizard, and one of those we're going to lock in the price on. So with that, we're going to send one of these analysis to the setup wizard and for activation. The other one, and the next thing that we're doing in this is we're creating a custom quote and locking in our price for 30 days. So this is basically what this is going to do. And we can do this in 4 different places, and this is one of 4. So right here on the summary tab inside the analysis, we can lock it in. So we're locking in that price, we're getting a custom quote, and we're going to say, hey, this is the activation, or this is the analysis that we want to do this on. The next place is inside the slideshow presentation. We can hit proceed to cart. We're going to get that same pop-up that explains everything. Then at the end of the slideshow, here we can get your custom quote, and it will be valid for 30 days. The next place is right on the home screen, and we're going to get that same information, how to locking in and accepting and sending this to the setup wizard. So here's a look at all 4 of those places. Basically, we got the summary tab, we've got the live presentation, and we can proceed to cart right here inside the presentation, just not even on the slides. The next one is on the slides at the end of the slideshow, and then again at the home tab, we can hit accept this scenario. So and now basically, so here is where we would go into changing and accepting scenario. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and do that live real quick. So we're going to go ahead and jump out of this, go back to full screen. And so now we've got our 500 discretionary and our 250 discretionary. And, you know, James says he thinks that the 500 discretionary is where he wants to go with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to review all these places. So there's this little arrow down button right here, and then we've got live summary. We can click edit. That'll take us into, editing the analysis. Summary takes us right to the summary report, live presentation, and then remote session. So, and these takes us just different places inside the presentation. So we're just going to go ahead and hit summary right now. So we can hit checkout right here. That's going to lock in the price and accept this scenario as the scenario that's going to get sent to the setup wizard. We can also do it in the live presentation mode. We can hit proceed to cart even before it finishes loading. We can accept it right there. And we can come into the presentation, and at the end of the presentation, which is where we recommend you do it, because we've just gone through the slideshows and everything, hit accept analysis and confirm it there. But we're going to go ahead and close out, and we're going to accept it right here on the home screen because we've got 2 different analyses. So what we're going to do is hit accept, bringing up that same wording that we've already kind of reviewed. We hit accept scenario and lock in that pricing. Now, there is still another button here that says accept this scenario instead. When we push up this one, let's kind of review what this does and what that purpose is for. So let me just go ahead and jump back into our slideshow real quick. So here we've got accept this scenario instead. What does that mean? Well, are you sure you want to make this the accepted scenario? By accepting this scenario, you're confirming the accuracy of the data provided. This data will be used for a client activation and setup wizard. If another scenario has been previously accepted, this scenario will replace that scenario for purposes of client activation and setup wizard. So all we're saying here is we're going to replace this scenario to send to the setup wizard. Your custom quote has already been generated and locked in for 30 days and will not be affected by this scenario or by accepting this scenario. So what we're saying is this 500 discretionary results that we've ran, we want to change it to this 250 discretionary results, and the accepted scenario for accepted analysis for activation and setup wizard, we want to change it, and we want to make the 500 bring it down and pull the 250 up. So here's what we would do. We would just simply accept that, and we would pull down the 500. It would bring up the 250. Now this $500 discretionary income scenario that we created, and we could create a ton of different scenarios based on a lot of different things, not for activation or setup wizard. And then this one is now for activation and the setup wizard. So basically that's what this is for. Is basically, so if you change something after you've set in the price, but you want to add another scenario, the client comes up with something different, he says something, he changes his mind. All we're doing is we're allowing you to make it easier for the home office to go through and coach and close that client and show them how to do everything. So from there, we hit accept this scenario. We're going to do it live right here. And we can see that we're swapping the 500 to the 250. Now this is the accepted scenario, accepted analysis for activation and setup wizard. So all the data in this analysis is going to get sent to the client's activation wizard, and that's what we're going to activate him on. This one is not for the setup wizard. You can delete it if you want to, or you can leave it there. But that's how simple that is. Okay, now the next step, okay? So hopefully you guys are staying with me here, but let me just jump to the next slide here. So configuring the cart and cart settings. Now I feel like we've made this a lot easier and a lot more understanding, a lot more easy to understand. But let's review this so you can understand how this works. So cart settings, you simply click on the cart setting right next to the analysis button, and then you've got the history button. On this analysis, the cart settings, we see here we've got gold at $24.95, platinum $34.25, and platinum plus $39.25. So we can see all those prices right there. That's what's actually going to load to the shopping cart. We can see when we run over to the shopping cart, we can see gold, $80,000, no mortgages, up to $80,000 in debt, and a purchase price of $24.95. Now, before we did that, we've got this little drop-down arrow right there. That's for the cart and basically has configured that cart. Now we've got $24.95 over here as well. So when we look at the drop-down, we can see platinum and platinum plus. Now you might say, well, I don't want all that to show up. Okay, well that's really simple to change. So what we do is we come in here, we click on this configure cart button, and it's going to allow us to edit this cart. As we open this up, we can see here platinum and platinum plus checked. From there, we go through and uncheck those platinum and platinum plus and just select gold. We can also enable financing. And so now this gold is exactly what's going to show up. And when we come over to the cart, we can see that there is no drop down, and that's just the cart. So we can also come back into the configure cart. We can hit enable financing, and we can look at adding the discount. So that's easy. We just push this button, and we click on the discount button. It pops up the discount. It says this discount is going to expire 2 days from the date you assign it. So if you sign it today, you've got 2 days for this client to check out, and that's it. Now, if the discount's good through the end of the month, well, you don't have to assign it until up to 2 days before it expires, or you can assign it up to the day, the end of the month, and then he'll have 2 days after the end of the month to actually make up his mind and decide to purchase or not. So from there, you just hit set discount after you click on the 10% retail discount if there's a discount available, and then it shows up in your cart just like this. 10% discount is now there. And this is, financing is enabled, and we've got our goal. That's all that's going to show up. So here's our goal. Here's our recommended pay in full. As we click on that, we can also, or as we look at the shopping cart, we can see the paid in full, and we can also see the 10% discount is showing up on the cart. But we can change it to financing, enable financing. So as we do that, we can see that, from that drop down, we've just opened up this enable financing. And we still got our discount, and from there we just need to check out. Now the last thing about checking out is PayPal, and it is a little bit of a thing that you have to be aware of. When you proceed to check out, you cannot use PayPal. So the reason why we do not want you to use PayPal on proceed to check or proceed to cart is if you proceed to cart, we're tracking the IP address. So is PayPal. We have a handshake that basically we just shake PayPal's hand and we hand the transaction off to PayPal, just like we would Visa or MasterCard. But PayPal's a little bit different because they're applying for a new credit line or they're logging into their account through PayPal. Well, PayPal is very security sensitive. And if they recognize that you have a different IP address, so if we're doing a GoToMeeting or I'm even sitting right there next to you, and I give you my laptop to log into PayPal, bam, the deal's dead. The minute you log in, PayPal. Now, there is an exception to that. If you've never created a PayPal account, then you log in from my computer, then PayPal wouldn't recognize there's a difference. But the next time they go to log into their PayPal account, it's going to flag it, and there's going to be all kinds of problems for that client. So we want the client to proceed to cart if they're going to use PayPal using email cart to client. And that is the only way to do it. The other ways is going to get it flagged as fraud, and the transaction is going to be declined automatically, even if they log in from, say they log in from their computer and then they log in from their iPhone. That's something that has nothing to do with us, but we have seen that it does kill deals, and then they've got to call PayPal. They've got to work out all that information with them. So this is the way to do it. Email client the cart. We send them the cart. It goes to their email. They open it up from their email, from their computer, and bam, it just goes through. It's pretty smooth, and it really, there's nothing between us and PayPal other than we are sending them this client to check out for financing, but we don't have any way to talk to them about, hey, this was somebody just tried to log in, they accidentally logged in from, the client's computer. They don't care about that, and they're not going to listen to us. They're only going to listen to the client, and the client has to work that out with PayPal. So if you get into that situation, you've got to understand email client to cart is the only way you want to do that when you're using PayPal. Proceed to cart's just fine as long as you're going to use Visa, Master, American Express, or a checking or a savings account or something like that. So with that, let's go through this live now that I've shown you that. So here we are in cart settings, and we're going to come over here and configure cart. And basically, we've got these different options available to us, and we can go ahead and remove the Platinum Plus. We can have Platinum over here, and we can hide that, or we can enable financing. And so if we do that, let's go ahead and go to Checkout. And then we get Proceed to Cart or Email Client to Cart. So we're just going to go ahead for this purpose. We're going to go ahead and proceed to cart, and then we can see that we've got our cart set up, and there's no options. All you got to do is really check out. and then we go to Visa, MasterCard, and we can click bank draft, credit card, and go on so on and so forth. So now there is one other thing that we need to go over and review with you real quick, and that is split sales. And here's assigning to a trainer and split sales. So let's kind of get into this a little bit. Basically, what this is bringing up is how you're going to split this sale with a client, with an agent, and what you're going to do, how you're going to get that to go forward. So we've got this assign button here in the analysis, and as we click on that, we either have assigned to the home office coach or assigned to a specific agent. So we can go through and do that pretty easily, assign to a specific agent. It gives us a drop down of who we can assign it to, and assign to a home office coach, assign to a specific agent, and then basically it's looking at a hierarchy or a tree view like this, and it's showing people that are available. Now this is going to be changing up a little bit on the first. We're going to be adding in new information here to where you can, you're not going to no longer be able to use the home office coach. But for now, if you're wanting to assign somebody that's not in your team, you have to assign it to the home office. But if you're wanting to assign it to somebody in your team, it's very, very simple. All you do is you click on the person you want to assign to in the list, click the assign button, bam, you can put in a note to him over here. It's going to show up in your assign tab now, so it's not going to be on your active tab. And it's going to show up who it's assigned to, so it's assigned to Bruce. And you can put in a comment, and you can say client is available tomorrow at 12 p.m. Mountain Daylight. Will that work for you? Bam. They can respond back to you right in here, and you'll see that. You'll get an email alert when something is responded back to you in the comments, and so it'll notify you that you can come back in here and look. So now let's look at assigned to the home office coach. Now this is going to be going away the 1st of October. So you can assign to the home office coach. You pick a date and a time. Now this date and time is not checked or calendared with who you're wanting to assign it to, but you're really wanting to use this because you're wanting to assign out of tree. So not somebody in your team. You're wanting to assign it to someone else. We click the assign button down there. Very simple. Again, it's going to show up in our assigned tab over here. We can enter in a comment, and we can say, you know, client is available tomorrow at 12 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Will that work for you? Please assign to Bob Jones. Will, you know, this will be a split sale with Bob Jones. Put in that comment information. Now, from today until we roll out all of the changes on the split sale, after you've done this and you want this to be a training sale, you need to notify support at trainingsales@worthunlimited.com. This is the email that you want to send that client into. This is where you've got to do this. Now, this is a temporary thing, and we will go through and update you on the new information on how to do that when we push out that new code. But basically, for right now, this is how you would go through and do a split sale. And this is how you're going to go through and get that sent in, run the split sale through, and then send it on into the home office that way. So you're going to want to go through and tell us, send us an email, hey, this is going to be a split sale. Also put it in the notes in the history, so that way we have it in the notes and history as well. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and change that to a split sale and get it set up for you correctly. So we just want to thank you for joining us on tonight's call. And hopefully that information has been good for you. You know, hopefully that's going to help you out, help you to make sales, help you to understand the shopping cart, what's going on behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. Thank you for helping us, you know, accomplish our mission, buying back America one family at a time. Thank you and have a great night.
Fantastic job, John. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Great job.